In this video, I will explain how to create your first budget or improve an existing one, what steps to take, and will show an example of a budget in a Google Sheet file. You can download this file in the description box below. Welcome to the Stay Scrappy channel. I'm Irene and we will talk about the budget. First, I want to tell you a story from my life so you can understand why I know something about budgeting and can talk about it. All my life, since I was born and I think I went to the university, I lived with my grandparents. I was in the 9th grade when my grandfather died. My grandma was shocked. She was sitting in the kitchen staring into the wall and telling, "We are broke now. We don't have any money and I don't know what we will eat." So I took a piece of paper and started writing all the things we are spending money on, like electricity, gas, food, phones, and other expenses. Then I asked Granny about all the income our household receives each month, any salaries, pensions, or side hustle income. Subtracting our expenses from the income, I then determined that we will even have leftover money if we will stick to the numbers on the paper. We should not spend more than we have set to ourselves and stop buying those things and services we don't need to survive. First, we need to cover our needs. I remember that my grandfather was buying me a children's magazine and I had to stop buying it because it's a want, it's not a need. So the moral of this story is that when you decide to start a budget, you have a certain situation in your life, either bad or good, but you know at that moment that you need to organize your money somehow. Now, as a couple, my husband and I create a budget monthly, plan the year and set goals. And thanks to budgeting and planning, we were able to move to USA. We have saved money aside and the rental property, which now helps our relatives back in Ukraine to pay the bills and buy the things they may need. Let's talk about the steps to take when start budgeting. Before even start, you need to decide how you will budget. You can use a pen and paper or budget in the app or use Google Sheet or Excel. In this video, I will use a Google Sheet file which you can download later in the description box below completely free. Hope my example will make it easier for you to see the whole picture. The rule we use in our family: we are not budgeting by paycheck and start a budget on March 15 because this is a day when my husband receives a paycheck. No, we are budgeting by months just because it's convenient and it doesn't matter when you will get paid. I don't want you to stick to your payday and depend on your salary. Maybe in the beginning of your budgeting journey, you will live out of your payments at work. But in a couple of months, if you will be consistent and start saving, you will no longer be worried about your payday. You will have enough money set aside on your checking account or in cash to live at least one whole month. Now let's open the Google Sheets file and start creating a budget. The spreadsheet has 3 sections: income, expenses, and savings. In the column payday due date, you will indicate the date when you receive certain income or plan to have an expense. Options 1, 2, and 3 are columns where the numbers will appear. While creating a budget, we will add income and expenses for each of the options. Option 1 shows an example of a budget when you have enough money to save, you make more than you spend. Option 2 is when income equals your expenses. Option 3 is the worst one, when you make less than spend and don't have money even to cover all your expenses. The first step in the budget creation process is add up all your income. You need to know how much money you have coming in, so let's list all income streams you have. They can include your take-home salary. This is not your gross pay, this is the money you will receive on your checking account after all taxes and other payments. Another stream of income is money from side gigs or part-time jobs. You can also receive alimony or child support. Or you can have a business income. Another income type is income from investments. Included if you actually transfer that money from the investment account to your checking and spend that money. Yes, investment income is your income, but generally you should not treat it as your monthly income, treat it as your asset. Next income type is bank interest, for example from a savings account. Add it to your income if you plan to have easy access to this money and use it to buy something or pay bills. I want you to think about your monthly income as all the money you will receive on your checking account, the money you will have in cash or any other money you have quick access to. We personally do not treat any investment income and interest we earned on separate savings accounts as part of a monthly income. We accumulate that profit on other accounts and reinvest it. In my example, the income will be the same for all the three options. Later in the video you will see how the situation changes when having different expenses. Second step, get informed about how much a household spends per month. You have to include here your fixed expenses and variable expenses. The fixed ones are rent or mortgage payments, utility expenses, water, sewer, electricity, gas and others. Phone, internet or subscription bills, insurances, expenses for transportation, food and also all the debt payments you make. These are the expenses you have each month or once a couple of months. Medical, vision, dental and life insurances you add to fixed expenses only if you pay for them using your take-home money. If you pay for them before take-home, don't include these expenses here. Remember, we are creating a budget based on your take-home salary. Variable expenses are those that happen occasionally. For example, you pay for your internet monthly. This is a fixed expense, but you don't shop for shoes each month, so it is a variable expense. Variable expenses include shopping, medical expenses and entertainment. Don't forget about the regular expenses such as annual car inspection and registrations, property taxes and other taxes you may have to pay, birthdays, holidays like Christmas, Hanukkah, Easter, Thanksgiving and Halloween, vacations and other annual payments. You can track your spendings for about 1 month to know how much exactly you pay for each expense. We recommend doing a 3-month tracking period to get a more clear picture of your spendings. Take your bank statements and analyze them. Check store receipts if you keep them to have an idea how much you spend on shopping or other regular expenses. Use your account on the provider's app to see how much you are spending exactly on utilities or subscriptions. Round up the numbers for each expense to be sure that this amount is enough to cover a bill. For example, if you spend in January $24 on water and sewer, in February $23 and in March you spend $24.75, use a bigger number to ensure yourself. Add $25. And this way you add the expenses one by one into your budget. Later, when you practice more and will budget each month, you'll not forget about some expenses which may pop up and will not get into debt, especially on holidays. Next step is to find out how much is left. Sum up your income, get the total for your expenses and then subtract expenses from the income. Now let's pay attention on the leftover row. This is a row where you will see the result after subtracting expenses from the income. In the file which you will download, the leftover row will contain a formula. While adding expenses, the number in the leftover row will automatically decrease, showing you how much money you still have to spend. So, if the number you see in this row is bigger than 0, that is good. You make more than you spend, so you can save this leftover money in your savings category. If the number is less than 0, well, your income doesn't cover your expenses and you need to go back to step 2 and consider to decrease some expenses, cancel some subscriptions, reduce your cell phone payments or make any other adjustments. If your number is 0, you have a budget without savings. That means you live paycheck to paycheck and have no money to save. Consider reduce your expenses and check one of my previous videos to find out how to save living paycheck to paycheck. The ideal situation is the option 1, when you have some money left over to save for the future. So, using this option, we will move to the last fourth step, savings. After subtracting your expenses from the income, you have some money left over. Add it to the savings category. You need to understand that it is not enough to mindlessly save money into one huge pile. You have to identify your personal financial goals, such as building an emergency fund, paying off debt, saving for a big purchase, saving for retirement, purchasing a new car in cash, buying a house, saving for college, or any other goals you may have. All the leftover money you should distribute between these goals, allocating more money to the goal that is more important to you at this current moment of your life. In this example, I will pretend that it's important for us to build an emergency fund and save for retirement. So the money I have in the leftover row, I will distribute between these savings goals. In the end, I will get 0 in the leftover row, which means I have distributed all the income between expenses and savings categories. That's how simple it is. You just created your first budget. Review it carefully, make the necessary changes, and use this budget as a template for the next month, adding the expenses you may forget about. Now tell me in the comments about your budgeting method. Do you budget on paper or use an app, or maybe you use Excel or numbers? I would like to hear from you. And feel free to comment on my grammar mistakes, because I'm not an English native speaker. Hope you liked this video, subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!